A pre-election meeting with pro-Russian Congressman Dana Rohrabacher. A potential secret deal between Flynn, his son, and the Turkish government made weeks before the inauguration, as well as revelations that the same firm that compiled the infamous Trump dossier also offered incriminating information on Democratic donors to the Trump campaign. Could this mean Mueller's probe is getting closer to the White House and potentially the president? Let's bring in NBC's intelligence and national security reporter Ken Dilanian, and back with us, MSNBC legal contributor Danny Cevallos. Let's start with your reporting here, Ken. And I was reading it before we came on air today. Your headline reading: Trump dossier firm also supplied information used in meeting of Russians. Trump team.
Yeah, Richard, this stems from our many interviews with the Russian lawyer in that Trump Tower meeting, Natalia Veselnitskaya. And I think there's been some misreporting and misunderstanding about what exactly she has been saying for some time now about where she got her information. And we just wanted to make it clear, and we called her again this week, and she's telling us, and it's confirmed by a source familiar with the matter, that she got the talking points that she brought into that meeting from Fusion GPS, this firm founded by a former Wall Street Journal reporter. Now, the reason this is interesting and getting a lot of attention, particularly in the right-wing media, is that this same firm, Fusion GPS, compiled the infamous Trump dossier. They paid Christopher Steele, this former British intelligence operative, to do it. But Fusion GPS is saying in a statement that those two cases did not mix whatsoever, and that this Russian lawyer had no idea that Fusion GPS was also working on the dossier at the same time. Now, of course, there are some Republicans who are questioning that and wondering whether, does this mean that the dossier was somehow polluted by Russian misinformation? And all I can tell you is that Fusion GPS is disputing that, Richard.
And in the end, as you're writing in your article, this lawyer, you potentially a pawn?
Yeah, that has always been a theory of intelligence sources, is that, you know, whether she was bringing significantly incriminating information to the Trump team or not,
right.
The point is they accepted the meeting from a Russian. They didn't call the FBI, and that may have been a sort of test by the Russian intelligence services to see whether the Trump team would play ball, Richard.
Danny, what might this mean for the investigation that Mueller is undertaking?
It just is connecting more dots in the Russia portion of the investigation, which, I mean, Mueller's investigation, broadly speaking, takes on two major prongs. One is what degree of collusion may have been involved in a foreign power being involved in an American investigation, which itself is a crime. And then, additionally, the cover-up. So this would go to that original issue, which is the Russian involvement. And all of these issues that are coming out, the potential deals or whatever they are alleged to have been to help or assist in getting the Turkish cleric back out of Pennsylvania, extradited back to Turkey. Those are all things that could generate a quid pro quo, which would violate any number of federal criminal laws relating to bribery, extortion. The federal government defines quid pro quo and bribery very broadly, and it's very easy for an official to get caught up when accepting anything of value for that official act.
Ken, on paper, this looks like a gargantuan deal with Michael Flynn, a potentially $15 million deal. You give me the money, and I do this for you, a foreign government.
Yeah, these are extraordinary allegations, and I should say Flynn's lawyer issued a statement, a rare statement from him, absolutely denying them. But the fact that Mueller is investigating them is incredibly significant, and people may wonder, well, what does that have to do with Russian collusion if Mike Flynn had a deal with the Turkish government? Well, the significance of it would be enormous leverage that Mueller would have over Mike Flynn to cooperate in the Russia probe and to say what he knows about, for example, whether Donald Trump knew that he was speaking to the Russian ambassador during the transition about sanctions, Richard.
Quickly, Danny, because I'm reading our NBC reporting, says 4 people familiar with the investigation saying this. A tight shot Mueller runs. Is he still pushing hard to try to get Michael Flynn to come his way? Of course, his son also at risk here.
This is a classic move by the DOJ. I've defended cases that featured this maneuver, which is get to a target, get to their family members. If you can find any criminal activity that the family member may have committed, then a father of his son will do virtually anything to keep his son out of a prosecution. And that includes becoming a cooperating witness, creating an incredible incentive to give the government what they want. And again, that comes from me as a somewhat jaded defense attorney, but cooperating witnesses have every incentive to please their government captors.
Jaded, but still a nice guy. I don't care what anybody says there, Danny. I think Ken will agree, too. Okay, and again,
Absolutely.
Mueller here showing that he is a legal surgeon as we watch him move forward. Thank you both, Ken Dilanian, Danny Cevallos. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Still ahead, the Veep Club.